Hey everyone, welcome back to JUCO Jam. With me as always is the JUCO advocate himself, Brandon Goebel. Brandon, the bracket has been released. We've had time to sleep on it, to marinate, to collect our thoughts. Can you believe this is the episode where we get to do the national championship preview of Hutchinson, Kansas? Are you ready for this?
I just came out of the hyperbaric chamber. They didn't pick it up after where they stuck us in there for the bracket reveal. So I just went back in there and watched some more White Sox highlights but now like I'm into this. I'm prepared. I'm fired up. What do we got? This show records on Wednesday, so or releases Wednesday. So yeah, like 48 hours after that, I'll be
In
flying to
Kansas.
Wichita.
All right, so here's the rules, guys. We are going to do our round of 24 games. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and do the round of 16 games. We'll take one final break. Then we'll get into our closing thoughts, Final Four, national champions, and anything else that is top of mind. Brandon, are you ready to go?
I think so.
All
There's
right,
a lot going on here on my screen right now. Just FYI.
here we go. Game one. This is a noon kickoff. Get to Chili's at 11. Get your skillet queso. You can still get there in time for a noon start between John A. Logan Volunteers and the Connors State Cowboys. A 16-17 matchup, probably on paper a toss up. What are you most excited about? Vols, Cowboys. Smith Peters Muse.
It's interesting when you look at this John A. Logan team, depending on who comes back for him next year, but like so much youth across the board on as far as the impact players go at John A. Logan. I mean, this could be a team that we could absolutely see right back
This could be
in Hutchinson.
preseason top five team next year. I think
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they return, they're freshmen.
These guys are loaded up. Now, that being said, when you have a lot of freshmen, of course, lack of experience compared to maybe some of the other teams, and so it's going to be a battle tested John A. Logan team of freshmen, and then you go over to Connor State, and they're all freshmen too. So this is a really interesting game because either one of these teams could be a pretty darn high seed next year, depending on who returns.
So while there's a lot of youth on the
Ute.
court,
The
Tyler Smith
Utes.
Peters, a veteran to Hutch, has won a national title. Bill
True
Mute
story.
has been there a whole lot. Now, I told you last night, I teased you with
Mm.
a statistical anomaly that I
Oh
came
yeah.
across that is so shocking that I could not believe it, and I had to double check. All right. As I was doing my double checking, I came across a second statistical anomaly. All right.
Two statistical anomalies?
I want you to mark your program right now, people. John A. Logan, number 24, Evan Noley. He's a 6'5" sophomore from Marion, Illinois. He is shooting 89% from three.
What?
89. Yes. As the Logan roster has been depleted, they have brought young Evan Noley, the 6'5" sharpshooter, off the bench. The next Jeff Hornacek, 89%. Unbelievable. All right. That's
How many
statistical.
attempts are we talking, coach?
8 out of 9. And I think
Okay.
this is a
Okay.
coaching issue. We got to get more looks for Evan Noley if he's shooting 89%. I'm sure Coach Smith Peters is putting in some new sets, maybe to
Hmm.
get Evan Noley some looks.
Draw it
Now,
up, coach.
second statistical anomaly, and maybe the greater one of the two, and I
Hmm.
would suggest the person who will not be passing the ball to Evan Noley would be one Cam Boone. So for those
Hmm.
that don't know, Cam Boone, 6'10" sophomore, um, plays 20 plus minutes a game. Good player, blocks shots, rebounds, good around the paint, has played his best volunteer basketball down the stretch. He doesn't have an assist this season.
Saw that.
Not a single assist.
I don't feel like it's because he doesn't want to share the sugar. I think when he touches the ball, he's so close to the rim, he just puts it in.
Can we put him in a situation where we could at least get a handoff to a shooter where maybe we can throw Cam Boone an assist? Have you ever seen that? I mean,
No, no,
plays a
I've never
ton of
seen for
minutes.
somebody that pays minutes like that. Yeah.
No. Okay. So I
When
digress.
he gets one at Hutch, because it's gonna happen, we'll just jump up and celebrate like it's just
Like it is the national championship.
yeah.
So let's get Cam Boone into a situation where we can get him an assist.
Even
By
a
all
dribble handoff or something, right?
Yeah,
Just
by all accounts, a great kid. And he's played really good basketball down the stretch. I'm really excited for this matchup. John A. Logan wants to go, go, go. I mean, they are going to push pace. They are going to play probably faster, or they will attempt to play faster than anyone in this tournament because they're small. Two of their three centers are no longer on the roster versus Connor State, who's more willing to slow things down. So it's going to be really interesting to see the tempo that we play at. All right, we're going to transition. Game two in the sports arena is going to kick off at 2:30. All times are Central, Brandon. We got a 15-18 game. Your Triton Trojans, coached by Brian Suit Burns, are going to take on Columbia State, coached by Coach Winston Neal. Um, Interesting matchup here, Brandon. What are your first thoughts on this game?
um well, if I could find my stuff here, because I thought we were going down the left side of the bracket, but it's fine. We're over here. We're up. We're good.
We're good.
Triton has
We're flipping
has
and flopping.
three.
Top left,
We're
top
flipping.
right, bottom left, bottom right. That's how we're doing this.
Triton is fun to watch, man. I mean, they are loaded up. Dawan Anderson, VJ Wallace, Tolu Samlus, Paytok Machar, who was at Indian Hills last year, and then Caden kind of round out the starters there. Just like really dynamic, really kind of able to do a lot of different things. Everybody can shoot a little bit. They really spread you out. That's a loaded up big soup team, big soup for sure.
Long,
Um,
very long, JUCO long, right? All guys with long arms. I mean, they're going to put, um,
very long.
they're going to be problem. They're going to be a problem. Now, I would say if I'm going to nitpick Triton, I would say that at times they have been, um, they have struggled with physicality. Columbia
Yeah,
State in the Tennessee region is probably the most rugged, physical region in junior college basketball in the entire country. It is old school wrestling. I mean, they let them go in that league. The refs let them go. And Columbia State loves to set screens. They want to do some nice duck ins on the post, and they are going to pin you on the backside for rebounds. Another little statistical quirk here: Columbia State is picking up 56 rebounds a game. It's like, their offense doesn't start until the ball hits the rim or the backboard, and then they're going after it. So this is an interesting matchup here. I think the length of Triton presents a problem for Columbia State. I think Columbia State's physicality is going to be a great early test for Triton.
and rugged is the word we usually use when we're describing Winston Neal, one of the smartest coaches in junior college basketball. But rugged, I think, is a great definition for just him as himself.
He could be described as the Will Hunting of junior college uh,
Ooh,
basketball. And here's a guy who two guys for Columbia State that maybe people on the national scene are not familiar with. Their point guard, Thaddeus Johnson. I've watched him play several times. He's really good, steady, not the most explosive athlete, but here's his shooting numbers: 47 from the field, 44 from three, 83% from the free throw line. We might welcome him to the JUCO Jam free throw shooting contest. Makai Wright, 6'8". He's getting 8.9 rebounds a game. I know that there's going to be some Division One coaches there looking for some bigs who can rebound the ball. I like Makai Wright. Could be a good
yep.
week for those two young men.
We saw it last year where the Tennessee region represented and all of a sudden picked up a lot of offers. A lot of guys got signed straight from Hutch there
Yeah.
out of that region. So we could definitely see that again.
All right, Brandon, I'm going to make you flip now to the bottom left quadrant of your bracket. We
Thank you
have
for the directions. Thank you.
13-20 matchup, Chipola, Monroe. Um, 5:30, you might be able to get in an early dinner. This might be great time for some Cajun pasta. Get back to the sports arena for 5:30 Central. This might be a tough one to watch, Brandon. This is not going to be a shooting expedition, I fear.
Yeah, this is going to be a low scoring game. Um, Boy, Monroe just finds ways though. Um, So it's going to be interesting. You see these teams where sometimes, they pay attention to each other at least. Monroe kind of hanging out up in the Northeast has probably not really been on Coach Tyndall's radar much. Now we know he's breaking down all the film here, but those Northeast boys can play now, and getting that big comeback win against Harcum, who's very talented and very well coached. That's definitely some momentum, I think, in their favor coming into this thing. I do have one little personal story to share. Chalaka Godswill on that roster. The last time I saw him in person was 7 years ago in Owerri, Nigeria. And so I am really, really excited to get to see that young man again. He is such an awesome kid, and his best basketball is ahead of him. Got injured as a freshman, unfortunately tore his Achilles, and so he missed the entire season. So this was his first year playing over here in college, and so really excited to say
You're,
what's up to my guy.
so there will be hugs. I'm excited
There
to
will be
watch.
hugs.
I like Hassan Washington. I thought he was really good in the regional championship game against Harcum, 6'7", kind of power forward from Providence, Rhode Island, 11-6. I think he's another guy who could really pop in the national scene. Chipola's going to have to, they're going to have to hit some shots. They're only shooting 29% from three. Another little statistical anomaly. How about free throw defense? No one ever talks about free throw defense. Chipola is so in your head with that defensive pressure that they put on. Teams are only shooting 65% on free throws against Chipola. So somehow
Mm.
Donnie Tyndall has found a way to defend the free throw line, something that I am going to be keeping an eye on. But
It's in the eyes. It's in the eyes.
this game will be won and lost on the 3-point line.
Yep.
Chipola doesn't make a lot of them. They don't give up a lot of them. The games when Chipola has gotten beat this year or historically on their 1-3-1 defense is when teams have been able to hit specifically corner threes. Hutchinson came in last year against them and just scorched the nets, and they shot the ball like no one's ever shot the ball before. So, I'm sure Coach Tyndall is looking for a little revenge in the sports arena, and I know that he would love to be playing Monday night in a Sweet 16 game. All right, Brandon.
One of the players I think that could really click in this tournament, a pick to click, if you will,
Hmm.
that people don't really know a lot about, but could really make a big name for himself. Watch that 6'3" point guard Eric Mejia for Monroe.
Hmm.
That kid can play. That
I
kid
like
can
that.
really play. The freshman. So
Maybe a JA 48. We'll, we'll see.
we'll
We'll
see.
see.
We'll see.
All
We'll
right.
see.
Game four, another Region 24 participant from the Conference of Champions. Vincennes will take on number 19, Three Rivers. That's going to be 8 o'clock Central, your nightcap, your prime time game. Spoke with two coaches yesterday who've had a chance to watch both Vincennes and Three Rivers play. They predicted this will be the most physical game of the entire national tournament, and hopefully they have a couple ambulances on standby.
Um,
14-19 Vincennes, Three Rivers, two historical junior college programs. What excites you most about this one, Brandon?
how many games combined do you think college games coached in, not just as a head coach, between Todd Franklin and Robert Kirby? I mean, that's got to be a significant number, I would think.
They have
Um,
stories.
hey, how about Robert Kirby coming in new to Three Rivers this year and just taking them straight to Hutch like it ain't no thing, right?
Like,
Um,
this is Three Rivers. This is what's supposed to
Three
happen.
Rivers is what we do. They came out to the Oklahoma Jamboree and Kirby walked in, and I've known him for a long time, and he was just kind of looking around like, oh man, like I forgot what this is like because he's been at the high major level for a while now, and I think he was not sure what he got into, but I imagine by now he's super excited about it.
I wonder how much he's enjoying it at the junior college level. I mean, I'm sure there's
Has
aspects that
its
are
moments,
probably,
I'm sure.
yeah, I'm sure there's also maybe elements that are enjoyable that you don't have to worry about NIL and things like that specifically. And maybe it's just more coaching and development. That'd be a fun interview. Maybe we have him on JUCO Jam sooner rather than later. But
Yep.
I think this is a good game. I think this is a good matchup for Vincennes. I don't think this is an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. And Vincennes has had a good season. 20 They won 20 in a row before they fell flat against Kaskaskia. I'm sure it's been a very There's been some very passionate practices in the physical education complex over the past couple of weeks. And, it'll be interesting. I don't even know that Coach Franklin knows what team's going to show up Monday night in the sports arena. Is it the team that looked like they won 20 in a row, or is it the team that, didn't look like they belonged in the tournament with that game versus Kaskaskia? So I'm sure all the players are ready just to get back on the court and play against somebody besides themselves.
I imagine Vincennes is very done practicing. I think the players are probably really excited to be headed to Hutchinson, Kansas.
Get a bang on somebody else. All right, Brandon, we're going to move back to the top left quadrant of your bracket. We now begin Sunday. So this is your, get the early church service, head straight to Chili's, maybe some fajitas, and Barton Brunswick, your 924 matchup. Barton, your defending national champion, coached by Coach Jeremy Combs, and then Brunswick, North Carolina, coached, of course, by Walter Shaw. Tell me a little bit about your initial thoughts on this game.
Well, you've got Barton back in Hutch. You've got like half of Barton's roster from last year playing in the NCAA tournament this weekend, so that's pretty cool. Barton boys got a lot done at SIUE this year for sure. But Dre Kindle is one of my favorite players in the country, regardless of position. It's tough to find good point guards these days. Like nobody wants to be a point guard; everybody wants to be a combo. But Dre is a real point guard. He is tough as all get out, even at about 155 pounds, soaking wet. But he is a tough dude. And so getting to watch Dre play in an environment like this is just, that's going to be just high quality basketball.
Brent Moss has had a better season than I thought he would have. I didn't realize last year that he could rebound like this. He's had some incredibly high number rebound games for the season, 16.9 points, 10.2 rebounds. As far as I know, he's still unsigned. I mean, I think this is a guy that people will have their eyes on, 6'6", kind of a small ball four. But I think this is a great matchup for Barton. Get the fans in, get some energy in the sports arena. Let's transition now to the top right quadrant of your bracket. I know this is a game that you were really excited about, Brandon, when the bracket first came out. This is going to
Mm.
be Pensacola, who beat Gulf Coast to win the Region 8 title. They had Gulf Coast had gotten them the first three times. Fourth time was a charm for the Pirates and Coach Pete Pena as they punched their ticket to the national tournament, which is the home of Coach Mike Fulda. This is 4 years in a row for the Trinidad State Trojans. Played a really tough early schedule, paid off down the stretch with big wins over Casper and Gillette. You were there firsthand to watch it.
Yeah, we call this one the Cody Hopkins Classic because Cody called that Pensacola win way back around Turkey Day. But yeah, I mean, these are just two really fun teams to watch. Dimitri Clerk is one of the best bigs in the country. He is such an awesome kid. And then on the flip side, you've got Trinidad State with some of the best guard play in the country with Amir Reeves and Latif Patrick. It can't be overstated how difficult that game was for them to win at Gillette in that home environment for Gillette. Gillette is loaded. They are really talented, really well coached. So to come away with a victory there just really speaks to where this Trinidad State team is right now in how they're playing. So it's going to come down to the guard play for Trinidad. If they can limit the turnovers and just play their game, do what they do. Latif is an incredible leader on that team. If he can really kind of rally the troops, this one really could go either way. And it's kind of one of those games where you don't want anybody to lose because they're two awesome teams, great coaching staffs, great players. Like they're fun to watch.
This is a much better matchup for Trinidad State this year than last year.
Yeah.
Odessa with the size, the physicality, the
An
pressing.
angry Odessa team after losing to Trinidad earlier in the season too.
Yeah, I mean they just hit a buzzsaw that they couldn't overcome. I don't know that anybody could have beaten Odessa the way they played in that game. And this is a good matchup. Pensacola State is not a team that's really going to press you, to trap you, to put a lot of pressure on you. Pensacola, at least in panhandle play, has been more at peace with kind of just setting back in their half court defense. If you believe that good guards win games in Hutch, Trinidad State has as good a pair of guards as anybody in this. If they can get a little bit of help from their supporting cast, it could go a long way. Pensacola State, not a great shooting team, which I think also helps Trinidad. From their 63% free throw shooting team, which is one of the worst in the tournament, and 35% from three, which is kind of middle of the pack. This could be one of those upset special games. All right, game number 7. So this is game number 3 on Sunday. It's going to be on your bottom left corner, Brandon. So if
Got
if,
it.
if you're coming in this if you're coming in for the second session, it'd be a great time to hit a bacon a bacon chicken bacon quesadilla at the Chili's
Mm-hmm.
before coming in. And um, Angelina, the 12 seed versus South Georgia State. South Georgia State, no, not an unfamiliar territory in the sports arena. Coach Baldwin has gotten his Hawks there many a time. When I was thinking about this is a good matchup for South Georgia State, probably a terrible matchup for Angelina. And so much of this is just about matchups. Little upset special here. I will take the Hawks over the Roadrunners, a 21 over a 12 here. While South Georgia State may not be a really tall basketball team, they have a lot of length. They're a very aggressive offensive rebounding team. And Angelina is not the most offensively efficient team in this tournament. So we know right off the bat it's going to be a close, low scoring game. And I just like South Georgia's ability to get some boards and extra baskets. I don't think the stage is going to be too big for the Hawks because they've played East Florida twice and they beat East Florida. They split with East Florida and they also played Chipola. So I think they're prepared for a rugged, physical, grind 'em out game. Now, Angelina, very, very good scoring late in the shot clock, and they are a defensive juggernaut. What say you, Brandon Goebel?
Yeah, tale of two paces here, right? 18 point differential between the two and what they score in a game. So really this whole thing is going to be about very early on who grabs control of that tempo and kind of enforces their will there. We see that a lot in the NCAA tournament as well, where you have, I think, a lot of times more drastic differences in tempo at that level. Junior college tends to be a little faster in general, but Angelina, bucking that trend and being a more methodical, physical team, can they keep up when South Georgia State tries to run? And if South Georgia State can't get out and run, they're in trouble, right? If Angelina just kind of goes into that Python mode of squeezing them down. But if South Georgia State can get out and run and get some of those quick transition baskets, it's tough for Angelina to answer that kind of scoring. So we'll see. It's going to be all about tempo, and I think we'll know in the first 5 minutes who's going to take control of that.
And as we move to the bottom right-hand quadrant of your bracket in the final game of the round of 24, Frank Phillips versus Wallace State. This is an 11-22 matchup. I told myself before this tournament began that I would pick Wallace State to win their first game, regardless of who they played, as long as it was not Frank Phillips or Triton, because I believe that Frank Phillips and Triton are the two longest teams in the tournament. Wallace
Oh.
State is a smaller team. I think the length will bother them. I think Frank Phillips ultimately wins the game, too much length, but this Wallace State team is really, really good. They're 26-5. They return their point guard, AJ Johnson, who was in the national tournament last year, little left-handed point guard who was unbelievable in their district tournament, especially the championship game versus Southern Union State. Would not be the least bit surprised if Wallace State does it again with a new coach, but I'm going to take Frank Phillips here.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the matchup between Maddie Traore and Marcus Thompson. It's going to be cool to see, have a lot of coaches kind of see, or I'm sorry, Christian Thompson, uh, to have coaches see Christian up close for the first time. He is a physical, strong 6'9" dude from Birmingham. Very stylistically different than Maddie. Maddie at almost 7 feet tall has some skill to him. Headed
Loves
to
that three-point
Washington
line.
next year.
Yeah.
Loves that 3 point line. Headed to Washington next year. So those two are going to smash heads a little bit and see which style comes out. But Christian, if Christian can get in under Maddie's skin and kind of lock him up, that's going to go a long ways to on the recruiting trail there. But just big, strong, physical dude against a very skilled, really long, kind of modern NBA type big man. That'll be a fun matchup.
It's going to be a great game. I'm really excited about that nightcap. All right. Stay with us. When we come back, we are going to preview the Sweet 16 matchups.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
Welcome back to JUCO Jam. We are now going to preview our round of 16 games, specifically the 8 teams who received one of the at-large bids to the national tournament. So Snow, your West champions, they have been great all year. It feels like they have almost been number one from beginning to end. Coach Andrew May and his Badgers, Monday at the Sports Arena at noon. Go get one of those big mouth burgers before you come to the arena. Be ready for Badgers versus the winner of Logan Connors State. What's getting you excited about this one, Brandon?
Well, I don't think Andrew May hates me for picking him to potentially be upset by Daytona in the next bracket. He might just being nice though, and he actually does hate
He
me. But
needs bulletin board material, right?
no, I love Andrew
I think
May. I
secretly
think
he
he
liked
loves
it.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, secretly. Yeah. I'm just really excited to see the undisputed number one team in the country all season up close and personal at this time of year. We got a couple different National Player of the Year candidates on that roster. Regardless of who they end up getting matched up against, John A. Logan or Connors, both of those are really tough matchups. Hutch
Stylistically
is,
completely different.
yeah, very different. And it's interesting because coaches talk about this all the time, the curse of being a top seed, of having to wait and play and things like that. The other team kind of gets the juices flowing, and then they come in, and sure enough, every year we see some upsets that maybe you don't expect. But John A. Logan and Connor State are both really, really good programs. If I mean, yes, it would be an upset in the sense that this Snow has been number one all year, but like, these are two tough, hard rocking teams that Snow could end up playing against. So, but I know Andrew May is going to have them ready to go. Players really locked in.
All right, let's transition to the top right quadrant. This is going to be a 2:30 Monday game. Cali, coached by Donnie Jackson, the Big Lebowski himself, will take on the winner of Triton Columbia State. Probably going to have a lot of people in the arena. Cali travels well, a lot of black and orange. Have the cheerleaders going crazy. They'll have the mascot. Besides the mascot, what are you most excited about here, Brandon?
Man, the tempo that Cowley plays at with, they have length, they don't have size, right? So, and they've always kind of been that way. It's just lots of that kind of 6'4" to 6'6" plus on the wingspan, gets after it on the boards, lots of skill in there, athleticism. So, and Donnie gets him up and going. If he lights a fire under that team, and this is absolutely one. If they came away with a national championship, we'd go, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. They just were kind of prepared for this type of environment. So, now Big Soup can come in there, and he's got some length to match with them as well. So, Columbia State, more of that physical, like we described, Coach Neal, rugged,
Gonna
which is
lean
the
on
word of the
them.
day.
Yeah, gonna
Don't
lean
lean
on
on them. Don't lean. That's the word of the day here on Sesame Street is rugged. Uh, and so, two different styles of team, whoever comes out of that game against Cali, but Cali's just going to play their way, which is like their hair's on fire. So,
And Donnie Jackson will show no emotion. He'll just be like completely chill the entire game, very soft spoken. He's a great guy, modern day coach. It's awesome. I love watching him. All right, we're going to transition now. I have to think about this. It is bottom left. It is bottom left.
we're there. We're there. Okay.
South Plains, your Texans. Coach Hayden Sowers um, gets the winner of Chipola Monroe. I'm not going to say that he predicted that he would take on the winner of Chipola Monroe, but he predicted that he would take on the winner of Chipola Monroe, and he got it. He got it right. Um, there's going. Let's just say, let's just throw out the possibility. All right, that it is South Plains Chipola. You could not get a further contrast in style between them. Caleb Blackwell, million miles an hour. Chipola, slow. 1-3-1, packing it in. How do you think that game goes, Brandon?
Well, it is a very tough matchup, I think, for Coach Sowers if they get Chipola. They're very guard oriented. They have some of the best guards in the country, but they don't shoot the three ball well. Um, and so, if they wind up in a situation where that zone is humming and they got to try and find a way to shoot over it, that's going to be tough for them. So they're going to have to find those seams. Now it helps to have future pros like Arterio Morris and Isaac Taveras and Caleb Blackwell in there that are your guards trying to pick apart those seams. So, and people got to remember too, South Plains is a monster of a team that really could have been a number one seed had it not been for some early injuries in some of those losses that they had where they were missing some of their best players. So the South Plains team that you're seeing now is not the team that had some of those losses early on. So this is definitely a guard machine out here, and so but Chipola is probably built about as well as anybody could be to stop that machine. So we'll see.
It's so funny how many people have said to us, "Man, I'm so glad we're on the other side of the bracket from South Plains." Or
Yeah.
people have said, I wish South Plains would have been on the other side of the bracket. I bet if you surveyed the coaches and they couldn't pick themselves on who would be most likely to win the national championship, I bet South Plains would be the overwhelming choice.
Yeah, that has
That would
been the
be
same
a
feedback I've
fun
gotten.
thing. No coach would participate, but that would be a fun survey to take. Um, Hayden, I'm looking right at you. I'm not picking against you here. I'm not picking against you. Too much Texans. All right, I'm with you, Hayden. And the thing that South Plains can do, they are the most high flying team in this tournament. Hey, if they can't hit threes, they'll just throw it over the top, and
It's true.
somebody's going to slam it home because they have some serious high flyers. Nobody throws the lob better than Caleb Blackwell. Nobody finishes better than Tavares and Cope. And I mean, they are absolutely terrific and probably better than the most recent NBA slam dunk contest. All right, that's game 11. I need you to transition, Brandon, to the bottom
Okay,
right corner of your
there we go.
bracket.
Ooh,
Are you mentally there? You know what's
I'm
coming.
here. I'm
These
here.
are
I'm
these are
I'm
your
I'm in.
these are your Indian Hills Warriors. This is Russ W. Oker. This is
Shout
Titus.
out Russ W. Oker.
Yeah, Schroeder Graphics, Zapital Trucking.
Mm.
Um, they get the winner of Vincent's Three Rivers, regardless of who it is. Um, this is a great Midwestern battle, blue blood on blue blood. Um, what are you most excited about of seeing Indian Hills in the
Do you
national
think
tournament?
Indian Hills is the most maybe traditionally put together team in this tournament?
Like
You've got
traditional bigs, traditional.
yeah,
wing,
you've got
traditional
like you've got
guard. Yeah.
right. It's not one of these things where it's, this is the style they play. So there's smaller, athletes or, it's lots of length, but they just, whatever it is, like this is just kind of a team where you're like, well, this position is this size and this position is this size. And it just kind of keeps going. I mean, they are built like a pro team, right? They've got
Deep,
length.
deep
They've got,
roster.
yeah, deep roster. Will Casey's coming off the bench for him. He's a top 10 player in the country. And is a high flying, high energy machine. And then off the bench, you've got Vlad Semerich, who was a monster in the Dawson game for the district championship. And that's your backup big. You've
Right.
got Jaudas Chagas in there. Looks like, I mean, he was going to walk in and get 15 offers because he
Right.
looks like a Greek god.
And
So you've got,
you got Mason Costello, the sharpshooter off the bench. You got Amante Allen Johnson, who at times has looked like the best freshman guard in the country. And then you bring Caden Nation off the bench, who has hit so many clutch threes. I think
big shots.
I think so many times that people sleep on him,
Yeah.
because just the way that they're built, these guys are not getting 35 minutes a game. You're just not going to get that at Indian Hills. They have to share the sugar. But Caden Nation has hit daggers on people this year. And
Deep ones too, right? Like
yeah.
he'll just step up in transition from 28 feet and knock him down.
And how many times have the two kind of primary starting guards just made clutch plays like Quentin Perkins and Trenton Walters? I don't know what their recruiting looks like. Division One coaches get a little freaked out about lack of size and stuff like that. But those guys have made so many winning plays this season on games that, you know, Indian Hills has probably won about 5 games that they should have lost. And they've just made, or they could have lost, maybe not should have, but they could have lost. And the guards just haven't let them lose. The Frisco kid, Trenton Walters, steps to the line, hits clutch free throws. Perkins or Walters makes a steal. One of them hits a big three. Like, they've just done everything that you want to see winning basketball teams do.
Yep, yep. And they do play with physicality and things as well. Their bigs are tough.
We'll keep
They're
the ambulances there because whoever they're going to play between Vincennes and Three Rivers is
yeah,
um, going to be physical as well. Three Rivers, playing good basketball. I had a couple of coaches yesterday say that they fully expect it'll be Three Rivers, Indian Hills.
mm-hmm.
Um, a couple coaches said that they think Three Rivers will get Hills. I don't know. It could be the return of the Raider. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
goodness.
So we'll see. That would send shockwaves through the JUCO nation. But hey, pick against Coach Franklin at your own will. He's been there a few times. I think this will be his 16th trip to the national tournament. Second all time to Gene Bess at Three Rivers. So that concludes Monday night. We're now going to get into Tuesday games, which is going to be your 5 through 8 seed. So I want you to go to the top left-hand quadrant of your bracket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Early tip. I don't know what we're doing here. I think, by Tuesday, we're probably talking salads, and that's okay.
Yeah, we got to lighten things up a little bit.
Yeah, a little light lunch here, hit a salad.
Yeah.
Let's say that Barton is the team that advances. They would play in to play Daytona State. Those pesky coach Joey Canton Falcons just had a terrific season. Depth. Now, this is also a team that you could argue is more traditionally built, right? Big bigs. You got your traditional point guards, a Lacey, Cuevas, and then you got more of your wing type guys with Placer and Mundi. What do you think here, Daytona Barton? We might have different takes on this one.
Yeah, I mean,
This was the game that could have happened last year, but Walters upset Daytona in the 15-18.
they did,
16,
and
17, whatever it was.
that was a wild game. Tyrese Lacey, one of the best point guards in the country. A real point guard, a true PG at 5'8", little water bug out there from England that just plays with incredible tempo and pace, and very, very smart. He's actually got some decent recruiting going on. Probably not as good as it should be because people are going to freak out about his size. But man, that kid can hoop. And so when he's out there working with all of this length, I mean, you've got the Bewley twins out there. You've got Isaiah or Jalen Payne. Just all these big physical players to find in traffic, and he's so good at that. That is tough to deal with. But I mean, how cool is it to see Dre Kendall and Tyrese Lacey? If Barton does end up,
Great All-American matchup right there.
yeah, yeah. If Barton ends up being the team to make it, seeing those two square off against each other at the PG spot is pretty darn cool.
All right, so this is where our brackets, I believe, would go in a different direction. We know that two of these 8 teams historically are going to lose. It's not fair. It's just the way the world works. I'm taking the Barton Cougars. I'm not betting against a Kansas team in Kansas. We're going to have a bunch of Barton people there in attendance. That place will be rocking. Barton will have one game under their belts in the sports arena. They'll be ready to go. I'm going to take Barton in a big, mild upset over the Falcons.
Hanging out till Tuesday is tough, man. That is hard as well.
Yeah.
So,
and these kids aren't used to playing in the morning. It's just there's not a lot of games that we have noon kickoffs. These are kids that are used to playing 7, 8 o'clock at night. So we'll see how it goes. That is game 13. All right, top right-hand corner of your bracket. Game number 14, your 2:30 matchup. Trinity Valley, coached by Greg Heyer, been number 2 most of the season, number 1 for a little bit. Fell to number 7 after they lost to Panola in the district championship game. They're going to take on the winner of Pensacola Trinidad State. If it's Pensacola, I would expect this to be a very, very low scoring game with two teams that play at a slow pace, grind and defensive battle. If it's Trinidad, it would certainly be a complete difference stylistically. Either way, going to be a fun matchup here. Talk a little bit about your thoughts on Trinity Valley and the Cardinals season.
Yeah, I felt like Trinity Valley was underseeded here. That loss against Panola in the championship, I felt they got punished a little, maybe too much for that one. But length, holy cow. We've talked about length a lot today, but I mean, we go 6'1" at the guard spot, and then after that, there's nobody under 6'6" in the starting lineup. And it just keeps going. They're interesting because they go very deep. They have one player averaging double digits this season, and so it's coming at you from all angles there. And again, even the bench depth has length.
Yeah, Zadi Labaki might be one of the best freshmen in the country. He has looked exceptional and like a pro at times this season. Other times, maybe it gets a little bit lost in the shuffle out there. I think for Trinity Valley to go deep in this tournament, they're going to need really good guard play, and they're going to need some consistent three-point shooting. They're going to need to get Garrett Knuckles some looks. They're going to need to get Braylon Winger some looks. MJ Wardlow, another guy that can shoot threes. So can they get enough guard play? Can they hit enough threes to stay in it? One of the things that I always look at for teams that really do well in this tournament, you got to win the turnover margin. You got to be efficient from 3, and you got to rebound the ball. Trinity Valley's definitely going to rebound the basketball. I mean, they're going to play defense and rebound. This is an interesting game. All right, game 15, bottom left-hand corner of your bracket. Coach Newton Mueller, Mr. Jones. The Jones Bobcats, 5:30. Make sure you get your honey chipotle chicken crispers before Jones plays. Going to take on the winner of Angelina, South Georgia State. I think regardless of who wins Angelina, South Georgia State, great matchup for Jones. Stylistically, I think they're fine with either team. What do you think about Jones and the season the Bobcats have had representing the Gulf District?
Yeah, interesting team, the way that it's built. We've just been talking about all this length and size and things like that. Well, they go the opposite. But what they do have is the new firm of Purnell, Thomas, and Hackman. And they are more than happy to serve you a big L. You see what I did there? Hey-o. So, just they don't go very deep. They don't play a lot of guys. They just
if I had the firm, my pushback would be, why would I?
Yeah. Why would I? This is
I
kind of
don't want
like
to
the
take them
Triton
off
of
the court.
yeah. They're a lot like Triton last year, right? Like not
Absolutely.
overly big.
Yeah.
Four players that really dominate the stat sheet for them, and it makes it difficult for teams to guard four just at any given moment microwaves. So different kind of team, probably that really than anybody else in the tournament. But oddly enough, similar to the Triton team that went to the championship game last year.
Yeah, they've gotten a huge lift from moving a million bugs into the starting lineup transfer from Hutchinson. He's 6'4", but he plays the five. He's super bouncy and athletic, just kind of like your energizer guy. He's really helped them out. I like Jones a lot. We'll get into some of our picks here in a little bit. 37% from three, 73% from the free throw line. Probably the best overall shooting team in the tournament, statistically. And what I like about it is they return guys who have experience at this event, right? They lost last year to Panola, but Purnell, and Hackman got to experience what it's like playing in this event. I think it's going to pay off for them in a big way this year. All right, that concludes our round of 16. Stay with us after this break. We're going to pick our final four, national champion, and any other closing thoughts we want to get into. All right, stay with us. We'll be back after these commercials.
As the second largest intercollegiate athletic association in the country, the NJCAA serves not only a pivotal role in college athletics, but in higher education. The NJCAA Foundation aims to move the association forward through resources, grant programs, and other special initiatives. Your gift to the NJCAA Foundation will make a difference and create opportunities.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
All right, welcome back to JUCO Jam. This is the final segment before the national tournament in Hutchinson, Kansas. We're going to pick our final four. Brandon needs a little time to marinate on his picks, so I am going to go first while Brandon ponders. All right. In the top left-hand corner of the bracket, I'm going to go Badgers. I'm going to go Snow. In the bottom left-hand quadrant, I have Jones beating South Plains. So I have Snow, Jones. Jones, I have beating Snow to head to the national championship. In our top right-hand quadrant of the bracket, I will take Cali. And in the bottom right-hand bracket, Brandon, I haven't told you this, but I spoke to Joe Kulagowski yesterday when he was walking around Walmart. Just wanted to be a normal guy, you know?
Just wanted to get out amongst the people
Just
and
yeah, just be amongst the people. So I'm going to take the head pony, and I think the head pony gets them to a Final Four, probably enough to push him to the Division One level next year. I will take Cali over the ponies. So I have Cali Jones in the national championship game, and I have Jones hoisting the trophy yet again. Coach Newton Mueller, Purnell, Hackman, and Thomas. That's my prediction for the national champions. I just feel it. It's one of those hunches. I have a hunch. So now I officially picked against Hayden, so he can use that for bulletin board material.
he is literally going to the laser printer in the office right now and just churning out copies
I don't know.
of
I like Jones. I just think there's enough there. I am a little bit concerned about their ability to rebound, but I think Avery Thomas is going to step up. He's 6'8". I think he's going to have a big tournament. He might cement himself as the best freshman in junior college basketball. All right, have I rattled on long enough for you to come to a conclusion on who you're going to take for your
I've
final?
got my picks. I've got my picks in here.
All right, turn your phone off. Turn your phone off before you say it out loud.
This doesn't air till tomorrow. It's going to be off for a long time. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Now, I made this statement earlier. So again, I think Andrew May still likes me. I don't know. Um, but I am actually taking Daytona to upset Snow to hold down that corner of the bracket in the final four. Um, I just think that length and that skill, and the fact they got upset last year, they got something to prove here
We didn't
this
talk
year.
about that. They do have some returning players too, that experienced,
Yep.
who got that similar to Jones and Panola that who returned some guys. So yeah, I agree.
Yep.
I think that experience matters.
Yep. On the bottom side of that, I'm going with South Plains. I could definitely see that being a heck of a game. Those guard matchups will be fun to watch if it's Jones and South Plains going after it. But I think South Plains has got just a little too much pop and gets through to that side. On the bottom right side of the bracket, I'm going Indian Hills. To make a deep run in these tournaments, you don't have to have a deep roster, but it sure doesn't hurt. And for Coach Cole Dewey to be able to go to lots of different positions and places to sub in guys if somebody's having an off night, just gives him a lot of weapons to work with there. And then in the top right, I go chalk again with Cowley. Just really tough to pick against a Kansas team that has so much talent, that plays with such pace. If they can get to that point, teams get worn down by then, and they're just really kind of built to be that Energizer Bunny type team. In the national championship game, I am actually going with South Plains Cowley in the national championship, and with Cowley again for the reasons I just explained, taking home the title. I am also not picking against you, Hayden. We love you. We love you. But it just we got to pick something. I was told that if I didn't pick anything, there would be no chicken crispers for me, and I can't have that. So that is what I'm going with.
All right, Brandon, really quick, rapid fire. Give me a
Oh, boy.
team. Give me a team who, and this doesn't go against your earlier picks, right? These are different questions. It's a different set of questions. This is a different exam. Okay, we've closed this chapter. All right,
Okay.
rapid fire. Give me a team that starts in the round of 24 who has a high probability of making it to the final four.
Frank Phillips.
I'll take
I
Vincent.
think.
I'll take Vincent's.
Yep. I think Frank Phillips is just, there's so much talent on that roster that if they click, they have to be all on the same page. That's where they've struggled a bit, but they can definitely get there.
Give me somewhere between 1 and 3 players who will elevate their status the most during this tournament, and people will be like, "Who's this?"
Tyrese Lacey, for sure.
Yep.
Now that they see him in person and go, okay, I actually don't mind that he's that small. Brian Ekonmu from Vincennes. I think just the physicality piece, that getting to see that in person. And oh gosh. Well, I think Avery Thomas could just blow right the heck up, right? Like, he's already got a lot of good recruitment, but it could go bananas at this tournament.
For Cali, I think Slim Hugie, especially if they make that deep national title, esque run. And I'm going to take a second guy, Marcus Ziegler, also from Cali. I think those are 2 guys who people will be like, why are we not recruiting him? And then I'm going to take the little diminutive guy, AJ Johnson from Wallace State. I just really love his game. I think people are going to be attracted to his style of play, regardless of what happens. All right, you can't pick Eastern Arizona again. I'm not going to allow it. We're moving on. All right.
Moving on.
Other than Eastern Arizona, who's had a tremendous season, we love the Gila Monsters. What team would you have most liked to have seen in this national tournament, other than the Gila?
I'm gonna do just like I did last week, and I'm actually gonna pick 2 for different reasons.
It's our show.
I would have loved to have seen Coffeyville in here. Jay Herkelman coaching at the national tournament is great, and the fan support and and everything. The Jayhawk is a tough league. The way that schedule is difficult. So I would have liked to have seen then, but I really would have liked to have seen Dawson in here. Man, they are talented. They play hard. I talked to Cole Dewey last night. He was like, "Holy cow! Like this team is something else. Like that's a team that could have made a run in the tournament, not just could have been here and been happy to be there. They could have made a real run. So Joe Peterson does a fantastic job up there, and it's unfortunate we don't have a space for them. I'd love to see something that would make it a little easier for teams like Dawson to get in. So maybe we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I'm with you there. When you think about teams that could have realistically won 2 or 3 games, as an at-large, in those final couple of spots, the two that stick out to me, Dawson, I think they have an amazing basketball team, and then Gulf Coast, who, after watching all these district tournaments, I still agree that Isaac Finlinson is the National Player of the Year. I think the number 2 person for National Player of the Year would have been Christian Harmon. I thought he was so good during during the district tournament. I just really wanted to see him, play on the stage. All right, Brandon, that's the preview show. I can't wait that in just a few days, we're going to be kicking this thing off. We're going to do like this incredible rapid fire thing of 20 games in 5 days, 4 a day for 5 days in a row.
This is literally the most exhausting thing that I do all year.
And it's amazing, and we look forward to it. It's going to be awesome. So Brandon, excited to see you again in person. Thank you for everything that you do for the show and making JUCO Jam happen. And guys, if you're a fan of the show and you've watched us all year, whether you love us or loathe us, come by and say hello to us. We'd love to meet you. So thanks again for watching, and very important, the games are all going to be on ESPN Plus. If you don't have your subscription to ESPN Plus, make sure you go ahead, proactively do that. Get the app downloaded. Help a loved one get it on their TV if need be. Make sure you get them signed in ahead of time. Don't wait until noon on Saturday to do it. So, of course, you can follow along on the NJCAA website for all the live stats. And then we're going to be doing interviews. We're going to be doing stuff. And Zach and the guys will have it on YouTube. So follow along the NJCAA channel on YouTube as well for all the cool interviews that we're doing. And just we're going to do a lot of awesome stuff. And it's going to be online. So make sure you check it out. Brandon, any closing thoughts?
Nope. Let's get it.
Let's get it. All right, guys. Have a great sports week. And we'll see you at the sports arena.